Good morning, colleagues. Sanbonani. Molweni. Dumelang. Towel. Lochane. Abusheni. Nda. Mangwanani. Huyamore. And for the information of Professor Bowie and the other keynote speakers, in Umlazi we also say Eitada. Colleagues, welcome to this colloquium of Mangosuthu University of Technology. We are very pleased to see you here, especially at this time of the year when there are so many pressures on you. We were just reminded on Tuesday in a meeting of executive management by Mr. Naidu that we have examinations starting on Monday. So the semester is almost finished. You can see how quickly time moves. So we really appreciate the fact that many of you had to leave, your work, especially as you have to submit semester marks and so on, to be part of this very, very important colloquium. So we truly appreciate that. And a special welcome to our keynote speakers, Professor Bowie, who was with us early this year. We are very grateful that you've again honored our invitation. And also a special welcome to Dr. Nosakere Griffin L., who hails from the US via the University of Cape Town. I was seated next to him and I was, because I'm always curious to know about various languages. And I was asking him, what does Nosakere mean? And he was saying to me that it's a Nigerian name, which comes from Edo, and it means he who God has ordained. So we were very pleased that someone ordained by God is with us today. And we have every reason to believe that this event has also been ordained by the Almighty. Can I ask perhaps, let me start with Professor Bowie. Some of you may not know Professor Bowie. I introduced her and I didn't ask her to rise and be acknowledged. Some of you know her, those of you who were with us earlier in the year. Professor Bowie, can you just rise to be acknowledged, please? So that colleagues know who we are talking about. That is Professor Bowie. And Dr. Griffin L., can you rise, please, to be acknowledged? We also have in our midst another keynote speaker, Professor Loyiso Jita, who hails from the University of the Free State. Can you please stand to be acknowledged? And as we heard from Dr. Makua, we also have colleagues from various schools. And that, for me, is an important development. I recall that right at the beginning, when we were talking about establishing the Teaching and Learning Development Center. Someone, I can't recall who it was, asked me whether the Teaching and Learning Development Center will also be assisting schools in the area of academic development. Because this center's responsibility is academic development at MUT. And the question was, to what extent are we going to assist schools? Because as you know, our schools are faced with various challenges in the area of teaching and learning. So to see that schools are part of this colloquium is a very, very important development. So that is part of the outreach that we are expected to get involved in as a university. And so we welcome the colleagues from the various schools, and we hope this partnership will not stop today. And we also hope that when our school liaison officers come to recruit students from your schools, you'll encourage your learners to come to MUT, because we are serious about the business of teaching and learning. And that is why we want to make sure that our teachers, as the theme says, are professional teachers. We want to professionalize the way they teach, but we also want to make sure that our students are effective learners. And that's really what the Teaching and Learning Development Center seeks to do. Colleagues, we are meeting today just after the elections. And if I had stood for the elections, I would be thanking you for your vote. But I didn't stand for election. But nonetheless, we need to pat ourselves on the shoulder as South Africans. We need to thank ourselves and even congratulate ourselves that, again, we've had a peaceful election, that we've had contestation without bloodshed. And we can meet here at Elangeni Hotel a day after without the country being held to ransom by one or another person who feels aggrieved. That is an important sign of our maturing democracy. And we need to be really grateful and thankful, and congratulate ourselves for this kind of achievement. This story of having peaceful elections, as you know, is not common in our continent and in several parts of the world. And the fact that we have been doing this successfully, it's something that we really need to be happy about. And I would like to urge you, therefore, to go in this colloquium with a sense of pride. Pride that, in spite of the many challenges that we have as a country, there is at least one thing that we do well, and that is democratic practice. And so let's go into this colloquium with that sense of pride that all is not lost in our country. We have many challenges, of course, and one of them, as you know, is teaching and learning. Our educational system really needs to be improved in various respects, especially, at the school level. And that is basically why we are here, also to make sure that, the kind of students that we receive, who are usually underprepared for higher education, are helped as much as possible to succeed as university students. So in spite of the many challenges that we have in the country, I think we still have so much to be proud of. We may have lost, Dr. Olawi, I don't know where you are, we may have lost our number one position as the economic powerhouse of the continent to Nigeria. But at least we have not lost our democratic ethos. And for that, we can really be proud. And by the way, the fact that Nigeria has overtaken us is probably a good lesson for South Africa. We've been too complacent, pursuing wrong policies. I hope, I'm just hoping, personally, that what has happened will also be a wake-up call for the ANC, that we need to review some of the policies that we have in the country that are not business-friendly, that only help to chase away investors. So, colleagues, enjoy the colloquium. We hope that at the end of this colloquium, you will have a better sense of what it means to be a professional teacher. Your profession as a teacher is a noble profession. There is a saying that a teacher affects eternity. A teacher affects eternity because you can never know where your influence stops. The child that you teach, that student that you teach, that you turn into a graduate, is going to carry on the transformation that you've effected in their lives. And they are going to change other lives along the way. And those people will also change other lives. And so your impact as a teacher is immeasurable. It is something that we often forget, that teachers actually shape the future in ways that you'll never even fathom. Sometimes we don't realize that because being a teacher is not like being a bricklayer. Now, if you're a bricklayer and you're asked to build a house, the results are quite obvious. At the end of the day, there will be a foundation that you can point to, right? Then a few days down the line, a wall will be coming up, and you can say, this is what I've done. And a few months later, a house may be standing where there was no house. But with teaching, the outcomes are very, very subtle. And most of the time, invisible to the eye. But what you can take comfort from is the fact that you are shaping the future. And that is why it is important as a teacher to be professional, to keep high standards. And by so doing, you'll be helping to develop your country and even the human race. So colleagues, let's enjoy it. And as I requested earlier, let's enjoy it with pride as South Africans, that we have this maturing democracy in our country. Thank you very much.